Very, very warm welcome to everybody present here. A big namaste, sat sri akal, and adab. Today, what we are going to do is something totally different. And that different is something very, very unique. But still, like I keep saying, extraordinary things are done by ordinary people, and ordinary people do extraordinary things. Yes? So, similarly, today we have a fantastic speaker who is going to be coming in for DPL today. You must be watching DPL since some time now. I'm sure you are tuned in to what we have to offer. Today, Moumita Mukherjee is here, who is an inquisitive person with an everlasting desire to learn everything there is to know about life, everything that enriches human experience and helps us become better even today as parents, for children, for teachers, neighbors, friends, community, and of course, slow and steady, the nation building. She became a parenting coach primarily with the thought that I will become a better parent myself. Yes, sharing her learnings, her experiences with other parents, guardians, hoping to resonate with them. There are so many things that we go through, she says. Perhaps the fewer mistakes that previous parents made in the generations that came before us. And those mistakes have left behind an unspoken wish that things had been handled differently, it would have been even better. When we look at that perspective, Moumita simply wants to do the right thing each time. And she wants to help her child grow well, become her pride. And one day, when the child speaks about her as a mother, the only thing they have is good things to share, cherished memories. Isn't that the hope of all parents? Yes, it is. The hope and the desire often leaves parents torn between the question, how much discipline is too much? What if discipline creates an emotional gap between me as a parent and child that feels impossible to fill? Well, yes, Momita is a parenting coach, a parent, and of course, she has a beautiful community in the ever growing parent. But does that mean she has all the answers? Her first time being a parent too, a simple doing the best that she can and gathering the knowledge, understanding that continues to gather each and every day. She believes that these feelings resonate with many parents here today, especially the parents here today who are in this room and the ones who are going to be looking at the recording later on. So let's welcome Moumita. Hello, Moumita. Welcome to DPL. I'm not able to hear you a little. Wait.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Thank
Momita,
you.
welcome.
Thank you for the welcome. Thank
And
you.
I love the fact that you have started this beautiful community of the ever-growing parent, and that resonates so well with all of us. So over to you. Let's discuss about the most difficult. How much discipline is too much?
Sure. Sure. I'll start sharing my screen. Right, visually fine? Okay.
डाल अगर बार बार से खराब हो जाएंगे.
Please let me know when once my screen is up. And I think my screen is in slideshow mode for everyone.
Yes, it is.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Just before I begin, give me 1 second. Yes, yes, thank you. It's actually moving forward and backward. Okay, technology generally fails us when we need it the most. If there is something that happens, kindly forgive me. I have tried my best, but I have a fantastic presentation. If something goes wrong, I'll share it with everyone. You will not miss anything. But with that, let us get started. So, we are going to talk about discipline without fear and guilt. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the session. And don't ask me whom we are talking about disciplining, it's our kids. Disciplining our kids in such a way that they grow up to be resilient and stay bonded to us willingly forever. I am Moumita Mukherjee, one of your fellow parenting coaches and the facilitator for today's session. I sincerely thank you for taking time out to attend this session. But before we begin, I want to ask you all something honestly. Okay, you can see some questions on the screen, right? Tell me how many of us at some point as parents have wondered whether am I being too strict as a parent or am I being too soft? Will my child grow distant from me in the future? Why do I feel guilty after shouting? Can I have a show of hands? Like, how many of you have ever asked any of these questions to yourself? If you can even unmute an answer. And I think I can take the liberty of saying that I'm right when I say that I think almost every parent sitting here has felt this at some point. Am I right in assuming it?
Yes.
Great, thank you. And the truth is, see, parenting constantly keeps us balancing between love and discipline, connection and correction, and boundaries and emotions. If you have ever felt torn between being firm and being loving as parents, you are not alone. See, many of us grew up hearing things like, because I said so. Sorry, I don't know what's going wrong with my camera, but it's okay. Kindly excuse that. Okay. See, we heard, because I said so. Stop crying. Good children don't behave like that. Okay. And while our parents loved us deeply, some of us still carry the emotional memories of how discipline felt while growing up, right? We don't always have very positive memories of discipline. That is why today's session is not about blaming parents. It is about learning together because parenting is not easy. In fact, one of my favorite parenting quotes is that there is no such thing as a perfect parent. So just be a real one. And that is exactly what we are here to talk about today. How can we discipline our children without fear and guilt? Moving on to the next slide. See, the first thing we need to understand is that discipline and punishment are not the same thing. Many times we confuse discipline with control, fear with respect, obedience with emotional growth. But true discipline is not about controlling a child. It is about teaching the child self control, responsibility, emotional understanding, and respect for boundaries. See, punishment often focuses on fear, shame, and immediate obedience. It says, because I said so. Because I said so, you are not going out to play now. Because I said so, you will not watch TV now. And that may stop the behavior temporarily, but it does not always teach understanding. Right? Healthy discipline, on the other hand, focuses on learning and guidance. It uses explanation. It uses consistency and connection to help children understand the consequences of their actions and develop self control. Like punishment says, you should fear me. That is the underlying message punishment always gives. You should fear me. While healthy discipline says, I will guide. That is the difference. Okay? Punishment demands obedience in the moment. Healthy discipline builds emotional growth for the future. Because if a child only behaves when he or she is afraid, then the child has not truly learned self-discipline. They have only learned fear. And fear may create silence, but it does not always create understanding. Are we on the same page here? Do you agree with me? The healthy discipline builds connection rather than creating distance through fear. A beautiful quote says, children need guidance and sympathy far more than instruction. And honestly, that changes everything. Right? Now, why fear-based parenting fails in the long term? See, let us talk honestly about fear-based parenting. Sometimes discipline becomes shouting, like, do not play with the ball inside the house. Sometimes it becomes threatening, like, if you step out of the house now, you see what I do to you. I think everybody can relate to this language. Our parents said that, and now as a parent, even I sometimes say, right? Discipline sometimes becomes humiliation, right? Can any one of you give me an example of how we humiliate our kids through discipline? If you can kindly come off mute and answer. Okay, I'll wait for you. You can write your answers in the chat, but I'll give you a very simple one. We say,
May I?
yes,
तेरे बस की नहीं है.
yes, doctor. Sorry,
तेरे बस की नहीं है.
teri bas ki nahi hai. Thank you. Like so painful. I can feel the pain even now after so many years. We call them duffer. Sometimes discipline becomes comparison. We say you both studied the same book and chapters, and he scored 28 out of 30, and you scored 18 out of 30. What is wrong with you? Comparison. Discipline becomes silent treatment. We all know it, right? Sometimes we get so angry with our kids that we stop talking to them for hours or days at it. We have done that. And at times, discipline becomes physical punishment. Pretty common in our country. I think from what I have read in different books, pretty common in Asian countries. I think we all got thappads from our parents at some point of time. It's completely relatable, right? And most parents who do this, they do not do this because they are bad parents. Usually they are stressed, they are exhausted, they are overwhelmed, or they are simply repeating what they themselves experienced growing up. This is my favorite. Many a times they are simply repeating with us what they experienced when they were growing up. This is important to understand because guilt alone does not help parents grow. Awareness does. Now, the problem with fear-based parenting is that it may work temporarily. A child may stop the behavior immediately. But in long term, it can create emotional distance. Do we agree? It creates
True.
emotional distance. They dislike you. It creates secrecy, low self-esteem, resentment, and rebellion in later life. Today, our kids maybe are young. They are afraid of us, but there will come a day when they will grow up, when they will match us in physical stature and all that. They will develop far more courage. At that time, if they are no more afraid, then we will only see rebellion from them for the rest of our lives. And you know how painful it is. Yeah. Children begin hiding mistakes instead of learning from them. When you depend on fear to discipline them, they begin hiding their mistakes. They start fearing parents instead of trusting them. If they don't trust you, definitely they will keep secrets from you, right? And one very important thing is that a scared child is not always a disciplined child. Agreed? A scared child is not always a disciplined child. Sometimes they are simply anxious. There's a powerful quote that says the children are great imitators. So give them something great to imitate. If children constantly see anger, shouting, and emotional reactions, then they slowly learn the same. Because children learn more from what we model than what we lecture. Are we on the same page here? Can we find resonance?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let us talk about something many parents silently struggle with, which is also the main focus today, guilt. See, today's parents are under enormous pressure. Social media shows perfect parenting, perfect routines, perfect patience, and perfect children. And then parents feel judged. Even parents are too much on social media nowadays. At least they are scrolling. So they see so much that when nobody is judging them, they feel judged. And many parents begin feeling that why can't I stay calm all the time? Right? But parenting is an emotional thing. Sometimes we lose patience, sometimes we shout, sometimes we react before thinking. And then what follows is guilt, right? Many parents swing between harsh discipline and then deep guilt afterwards. But I want to say something important today that being a good parent does not mean never making mistakes. It means willing to repair them, make mistakes, but be willing, be flexible enough to repair them. One apology from parent can teach a child accountability, honesty, and emotional maturity. Imagine the power of saying, I should not have shouted at you like that. That does not weaken your authority as a present, as a parent. It strengthens trust. Because children do not need perfect parents. They need emotionally safe parents. A beautiful quote says that connection is the foundation of cooperation. And honestly, children listen best when they feel emotionally connected. Do we agree? Do we agree? Yes or no?
So true.
Thank you. Moving further. Okay. Now, let us move to some practical tools to discipline our kids without fear or guilt. Okay. Because parenting advice should not only tell parents what not to do, it should also tell them what to do. So let's take a look at the first one. Set clear boundaries. See, children actually feel safer when boundaries are clear and consistent. For example, screen time rules. Set clear expectations around screen time. Bedtime routines. Establish regular bedtime routines. Respectful language. Establish the do's and don'ts of what can or cannot be said. You cannot say duffer, you cannot say foolish, you cannot say shit. Okay? Whatever it is, which is something you don't consider appropriate, set rules around it. Homework expectations. Create homework schedules together. Children may resist boundaries sometimes. It's not like boundaries are a very lovable thing, they will fall in love with it. No, they will resist boundaries, but boundaries create emotional security by ensuring a safe and predictable environment where children can thrive. What confuses children is inconsistency. Consistency makes them feel secure and learn self-regulation. That is the consistency you are bringing through boundaries, right? So when you bring boundaries, you help children have consistency in their life and make them feel secure and self-regulated. Okay. Now, separate the child from the behavior. Number two, this is very important, extremely important. Instead of saying you are bad, say what you did was not okay. Learn to change your narrative. Remove the focus from the person, from the child. Bring the focus to the action. Don't say you are bad. That's focusing on the child. Say what you did was not okay. The focus has instantly shifted to the action, which is the requirement. So consciously change the narrative. Okay? Behavior, remember, behavior can be corrected without damaging a child's self-worth. When we label children based on their mistakes, like you're a fool, you're a duffer, तुमसे नहीं हो पाएगा, okay? When we label children based on their mistakes, तुमसे ये question गलत सही नहीं हुआ, you could not answer an MCQ of 1 marks correctly. What will you do? You cannot do. How will you correct a 3 marks question, right? When we label children based on their mistakes, they slowly begin to believe those labels about themselves. Right? But when we separate the child from the behavior, we teach them that mistakes do not define who they are. Right? They are opportunities to learn and grow. Correct the action, not the identity of the child. Okay. This approach reduces shame, preserves self-worth, and builds trust and mutual respect. So far, are we on the same page here? Okay. See, and over time, what happens is it helps children feel emotionally safe enough to improve rather than fearful of making mistakes. Now, next, using natural and logical consequences. See, discipline should teach, not humiliate. Discipline with the aim to teach your child something better, not to humiliate them. Okay. The purpose of consequences is not revenge, it is learning. आपको अपने बच्चे से बदला नहीं लेना, उनको सिखाना है. It's learning. Okay, so revenge is not your aim, learning is your aim. For example, if a child throws a toy repeatedly, we keep the toy away temporarily. If a child delays homework, we reduce playtime because the work remains unfinished. Right? These are natural and logical consequences that help children understand the cause and effect. When children experience the outcomes of their choices calmly and consistently, they learn responsibility without shame. Right? The goal is not to create fear. The goal is to help the children develop accountability, self-discipline, and better decision-making while still feeling emotionally safe and connected to the parent. Agreed? Is it something relatable?
Absolutely.
Thank you. See, when we model calmness, patience, and self-control, children slowly begin to develop those skills themselves. Your composure becomes their compass. Right? A calm parent does not just stop a conflict. They teach a child how to handle emotions safely and respectfully. Right? Moving on to the next. Give me a moment.
I'm sure everybody in the room is relatable to what Moumita is saying. All the questions are going to be taken definitely towards the end. So park all your questions on the chat and also share your thoughts in the chat for us to go through it as well and help you.
Okay, apologies. This is not being very kind to me today, but thank you, at least you are being kind to me. See, next is regulating yourself first. One of the hardest truths is that parenting is that a dysregulated parent cannot regulate a child. As simple as that. When we react in anger, we often say things we later regret. That is why before disciplining your child, it is always important that you pause, breathe, lower your voice instead of raising it, and the $1,000,000 thing. Avoid correcting during peak anger. When you are extremely angry, please, that is not the time to do any work, at least not disciplining your kid. Let it subside. Take as much time as it takes to let your anger subside. Then only talk, because then only you will talk correctly, right? Then only you will talk functionally and in a regulated manner rather than sounding dysfunctional and dysregulated. Children learn emotional regulation by watching adults around them, right? As I said before, your composure becomes their compass. You will not, when you are regulated, you will not only stop a conflict, you will also teach your child how to handle conflicts and emotions safely and respectfully in future. Now, moving on to the next, listen before correcting. Sometimes children need understanding before instruction. Children always cooperate better when they feel heard, respected, and emotionally safe. When we listen first, we model the same respect and empathy that we want our children to show to others. Right? For example, I understand you are upset, but this behavior is still not okay. That one sentence beautifully balances empathy and boundaries. Right? It acknowledges the child's feeling while still correcting the behavior. Some simple practices can help you here. You validate your child's emotions first. Create space for expression. Let them talk. Let them express. Don't be in a hurry to always talk. Build trust through listening. I remember one example that we have one mouth, but we have two ears. Why is that so? Because in a conversation, listening is far more important than speaking. So please remember, listen to your child more, trust will follow. And correct with connection, not fear. Connect with them, listen to them, talk to them calmly, and then correct them. Don't be that, I'll give you one. If you don't listen to me, this is how we do it. Don't instill fear. Okay. When children feel understood, they become more receptive to guidance. Empathy before instruction creates trust, and a child who feels heard is far more likely to learn from correction than a child who feels dismissed. कि कुछ नहीं सुनना मुझे, मैं जो कह रही हूँ वो कर, right? If you dismiss your child, a child won't be willing to correct itself. Okay. Now, repair after conflict. Okay. See, conflict happens in every family, but repair is what protects the relationships. Do we agree? We have conflicts with our parents, with our siblings, but then as we add years to our lives, we gain that wisdom that when we sit and think, we think about all the positives they have done, and that's what propels us to repair those relationships. That's how, in spite of conflicts in families, relationships stay, right? That is the same thing you apply to your kid. After a difficult moment, reconnect with your child. With talk to them, hug them, apologize if needed. Because discipline without connection becomes fear. Okay. But discipline with connection becomes guidance. As simple as that. And as difficult as it, right? Parents often forget this part, that admitting when they are wrong. This is what they forget, or maybe they remember, but their ego comes in the way, right? But this is an important part. You admit when you are wrong. Saying that one line that I should not have shouted shows strength. It doesn't weaken your authority. It teaches kids accountability and models emotional honesty, building healthy relationships. It also shows kids that mistakes are human and owning up to them mends bonds and teaches responsibility. Right? If you are following, do you agree with me? Now,
True that.
thank you. Let us make this practical. I'll mention some real life scenarios and I want you to think honestly, how would you usually react? Remember, no judgment, just reflection. Okay? Now here is scenario 1, a child lying. Now picture this. Your child comes home and you discover that they lied about finishing their homework. And that's why the teacher sent a note in their diary. What is your immediate instinct? Immediately, what comes to your mind? Can anyone of you come off mute and tell me? Okay, let me try. If somebody is not saying, okay. See, it's generally frustration and extreme anger, right? You didn't do the homework, you lied to me, I trusted in you and didn't check, and now I end up getting a diary note. Frustration and anger usually adds. In such scenarios, parents react with shouting, labeling the child as a liar, and punishing them. But here is what you need to do. Pause before reacting. Ask yourself, why did they lie? Most of the time, children don't lie out of defiance. They lie because they are afraid. Afraid of your reaction, afraid of punishment, and afraid of disappointing you. A calmer, more effective approach is to sit down with your child, look them in the eye, and say, I want you to feel safe telling me the truth. Then gently explain that honesty matters and is always valued. Mistakes can be handled together, they are not the end of the world. Okay? And lying usually comes from fear, not bad character. When you tell that your kid will have trust, confidence in them, that they are not bad. They lied because somewhere they were afraid for one reason or the another. Okay. Note that your goal here is not to create fear, it is to create trust. When a child knows they won't be shamed or harshly punished for the truth, they stop needing to lie. Honesty grows naturally in a home where safety replaces fear. Fine? On the same page here? Now,
Yes.
moving on to the next scenario. Thank you. Tantrums in public. Public tantrums are actually emotionally difficult for parents. Most parents feel embarrassed and react quickly, threatening the child and yelling at them. This in turn embarrasses the child, creating a cycle where the kids embarrass the parents and the parent embarrasses the kid. And no solution. Cycle going on in cycles, no workaround. But there is a healthier way to handle it. When kids throw tantrums in public, then staying calm is the key. See, reduce the audience pressure. Forget about who is watching. If it's a public place, definitely people will watch. But forget about who is watching. Acknowledge their feelings first. Say, I know you are upset right now, but we cannot behave this way. If needed, you move to a quieter space and wait for them to calm down before discussing their behavior. Note that your goal isn't to stop emotions. It is to teach emotional regulation, how to regulate those emotions. By doing this, you are showing the kids how to handle big feelings in the future. Everything future is created from present. Every small thing you do today takes you to a future, whether it's good or bad, depends on what we are doing today. Now, next is refusing homework. When a child refuses homework, our first impulse is often comparison. Megha does her homework without her mother needing to tell her, and every day I have to nag at you. Why is that? So why can't you start doing the homework on your own? When will you grow up? So our first impulse is often comparisons, anger, or constant nagging. Have you done your homework? Have you done your homework? See, Megha did. See, she did. He did. I talk to their moms. Nowadays, we have WhatsApp. We are forever talking to moms, right? And we have n number of things to compare and nag about. Okay. But control rarely builds willingness. If you try to control them, willingness will just not follow. Only fear will follow. So begin with curiosity. Sit beside the child and say that what's making the homework difficult today. Listen for clues. Maybe they feel overwhelmed by a big assignment. At times it happens. बहुत काम दिया है. They are even like afraid to start. They don't know when it will get over. We have seen all of this. At least I have seen this in my son's school. Okay. Or maybe they are tired after a long day. Maybe they are anxious about getting answers wrong. Or maybe they are simply distracted. Right? So sit with them and co-create a small plan. Break the task, break the homework into bite-sized steps with short study intervals. Okay. Set a simple routine, a snack break or a 5-minute stretch, and then 20 minutes of focused studies. Offer support instead of pressure. Read the instructions in their homework together. Stay nearby. They will get that, moral support, which we say. Stay nearby. Don't disappear. Okay? And celebrate each finished part. They have 5 pages worth of homework, 2 pages down, great, only 3 to go. Okay, let's take one at a time. These sound very childish, but they never get old. They haven't gotten old with my 14-year-old son. So if any of you have younger kids, so definitely it's going to work. So this approach teaches responsibility without making learning feel emotionally unsafe. In the long run, responsibility grows better in encouragement than in fear. Right? Next, sibling fights. When siblings fight, as parents, our first instinct is often to step in, point a finger, and demand an apology. Say sorry. I don't want to hear anything. Say sorry. Being a typical parent. Okay? But rushing to blame one child or forcing immediate sorries misses a much bigger opportunity. Instead, what you should do is pause. Sit with both the children, listen calmly to both of them. Listen calmly to each side. Help them name what they are feeling. Are they feeling frustration, jealousy, or are they feeling hurt? Okay? Help them name their feeling before jumping to solutions, and then guide them through solving it together. Remind them clearly that we are solving this together, not hurting each other. That one sentence shifts the dynamic from competition to cooperation. Use these moments to teach skills that will serve them for life. Teach them communication, expressing needs without attacking anybody, taking turns, understanding that everyone deserves to be heard, respectful disagreement, learning that conflict doesn't have to mean cruelty. The goal Your goal as a parent isn't a household without arguments. The goal is children who know how to argue fairly, kindly, and constructively. Okay? Sibling fights, handled well, become some of the earliest and most powerful lessons in conflict resolution, and in turn save you from a lot of heartache, guilt, and fear throughout your life. Now, I think everyone will relate to this. Screen addiction. So in the age of tablets and smartphones, screen battles have become one of the most common and exhausting parent struggles. Right? Snatching a device mid-session or shouting, "Enough! No more now." This rarely works. It triggers resistance, not reflection. You shout, they resist. As simple as that. And using screens inconsistently, this is far more problematic. Using screens consistently means as a reward one day and punishment the next. It only adds to their confusion. कि क्या करना है? Screen देखना भी है कि नहीं देखना? One day ये कर लो, फिर I'll let you watch this. ये किया, no screen time. Your consistency is leading to their confusion. The more effective approach here is to set clear boundaries before the conflict begins. When children know what to expect, they push back far less. Okay. Build simple and predictable rules into the daily routine. No screen during meals. Protect that connection time. Use it as a family connection time. Fix screen timings. So the end of screen time isn't a surprise. They already know that after 7 p.m. my mama will not let me watch the screen. It's no surprise to them. They are used to that. You have set the rule beforehand. Family activity or indoor time. Replace screens with something worth showing up for. Replace with another activity that catches your and their interest. Okay. Crucially, involve your children in making these rules. When kids have a say, they feel respected and are far more likely to follow through. The goal isn't to eliminate screens entirely, it is to teach balance and self-regulation, skills they will need long after the devices have changed in their life. Right? Note that restrictions alone create resentment. Connection and consistency create cooperation. Okay, let me move to the next. Yes, talking back. See, when a child talks back, the knee-jerk response is often, "Do not answer back. Do not do that," I'm saying. Okay? Followed by immediate punishment. That is what we know the best. That is what we have seen the best. But this typically escalates into apologies. It typically escalates into a power struggle where nobody wins. And the real issue goes unaddressed. Right. Here is what's worth remembering, that a child who talks back is a child who feels something strongly enough to say it. And that's not entirely a bad thing. The problem isn't the feeling, it's the delivery. The healthier response is to correct the disrespect while still allowing the expression. उनको बोलने दो, express करने दो आप, but करने का express करने का तरीका सही रखो, वो आप उनको सिखाओ. Right? Say clearly, you are allowed to disagree, but not disrespect. Okay? That one line does two important things. It holds the boundary and keeps the door open. Right? It tells your child your voice matters, but so does how you use it. Right? And then comes the more harder part. Model it yourself. It's very easy to give instructions. I can give a whole workout, but it's equally difficult to follow it yourself. Children learn communication styles by watching the adults closest to them. If we respond to their outbursts with outbursts with our own raised voices or harsh words, we have taught them exactly what we didn't intend to teach them. Right? Children, as we said before, children are great imitators. Give them something great to imitate. The goal isn't to raise children who stay silent out of fear. It is to raise children who can express themselves with confidence and respect. In this home, in every room they will walk into for the rest of their lives. Agree? Okay. Let me move to the next slide. Okay. So finally, the gist. As we close, I want every parent here to remember something, that children may forget many things we say, but they rarely forget how they felt around us. Discipline works best when children feel safe, respected, and emotionally connected, not afraid. And finally, you do not need to be a perfect parent. You only need to be willing to learn, willing to repair, and willing to stay emotionally present. Because parenting is not about getting everything right, it is about growing alongside your child. That is enough. That is, in fact, everything. So, thank you. Thank you for your presence today. Let's keep learning. Stay well, stay safe and healthy. And I just want, before I sign off, I just want to say one thing, that Vaishali has helped me a lot today. With all my preparations, I was feeling n number of problems. Screen not working, voice not working, sharing not working. And God knows how many times she got into calls with me and found out roundabout. So can we all please give a big round of clap for Vaishali? She is my guardian angel today.
Absolutely.
Vaishali, thank you so much. And with that, I close my session. I hope you all found it useful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Moumita. That was a fantastic session. Indeed. I'm sure we have covered a lot of body when it comes to disciplining without fear and guilt. So, Moumita, there was a question in the chat, which I'll just pose it to you before we open up for all the other questions from the beautiful people in the room. Moumita, can you stop sharing so that we can have you on the screen, full screen?
Actually,
So the question,
I have stopped sharing, but my
okay.
Zoom is not supporting me.
Oh, no worries. Let it take its
Loading.
time. Let it take its time. So, Mohammed, the question that was there was that what if a 4-year-old kid cries unnecessarily? How to handle, and what is the sentence to use to change this behavior? So it's like publicly or privately, he's just crying unnecessarily.
I'm sorry, my screen has gone. Can you repeat the question?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Now
let me also check the chat. Okay.
Yes. So while you're checking, I'll just repeat the question. What if a 4-year-old kid cries unnecessarily? How to handle and what sentence to use to change this behavior?
Amazing. Fantastic question. Amazingly difficult. Rules basically remain the same. It's far more difficult for us to emotionally discipline a 4-year-old because the child is so small. No? The sternness we can show with a grown-up child, let's say even 8 to 10 or 14, that we cannot show that. But the fact remains that whatever the child is crying for, whether it's right or wrong, if it's right, again, do the same thing. If it's right, stay calm. Just keep quiet. Just keep quiet. Go take the child to some other place. where only you and the child are there, and let them cry that out. At times they need that time to cry it out. When they cry, they have gotten tired, they have quieted, they have become quieter. After so that, leave it for a while. They are already quiet, leave it for a while. If possible, for an hour or two, for a things. And then when, see, the nothing, reduces the effect of something as time. Like, as they say, time heals everything. It's a very small example, but give it time, leave it for a while after your child is tired of crying. After a while, maybe an hour or two, when that has passed, when the child is again normal, and trust me, children are not like grown ups. They remember things, but they are not like going to hold grudges and make a bumpy face, and I'm not going to talk to this person for the remaining rest of my life. So then talk to them, then ask them, and then if when they tell you their unreasonable demand, which was unreasonable when they were crying, then try to tell them why it is wrong. Instead of that, what is right. The thing is that you have to discipline your children, but you have to ensure before that they are receptive. So you have to make use of time and environment around you to make them receptive, to let that phase pass. It's just like your anger. When you are at peak anger, you should not try to discipline your child. You will end up saying things you will feel guilty for many years of your life, maybe for the rest of your life. So let your anger pass. Do something else. There are n number of household chores, your office work, go wash clothes, make anything, go do. If you can draw, if you can read, watch TV, do anything. Same thing applies for the kids. Do let that time pass and then talk when they are receptive. This is
So true.
my answer is.
So
Ma'am,
true.
sorry for interrupt. This is a question is being asked by me, and
Mhm.
I tried this strategy too. When he's crying, I try to leave him alone, and he start doing crying a lot. He is at next level at crying after that. So there is a no reason to cry. Like when he want to sleep, he start crying. Okay, there is a no reason for that. When he get up, he start crying. When it is the time to food, and I have tried ki I will not force to eat the food as well. But uh, means he don't want to cry. Sometimes he's laughing, but emotions he cannot handle, and that leads to the crying. And as both mother and father are the working professional, and sometimes it's become like harder to understand ki, matlab, why things are happening.
Right. Just thank you for your question. Can you share your name, please?
Anuj.
Thank you, Anuj. Yes, over to you, Moumita.
Anuj, every person's solution is different because every kid is different, every parent is different. But one thing that stayed with me when you said that both parents working, I can relate to it because I'm a working mom. Okay. See, there is no denying that when we are working, we cannot give that much time to our kids as a non-working parent gives. So maybe deep down, and we keep them in maybe in what is it, daycare and that where they have friends and everything. But I feel nothing replaces the fact that they want more of their parents to stay with them. Okay, they see less of their parents, and maybe it's all that cumulative hurt or sadness that mama is not around that much, papa is not around that much, that is making them crying out for different, when you don't even understand the reason. Eating food, crying. Watching TV, crying. No reason, crying. I think those are unprocessed emotions. That is what we need to address here. We have to find our ways to address, but I think this may be a reason why. Because maybe the child, how old is your kid, Anuj?
4 years.
Well,
4 years.
it's 4 year, and as a parenting, we have taken the decision like a no screening, and
No?
one of them always do the work from home,
Mm-hmm.
and but even when you are doing the work from home, so matlab, we have the setup at home like having the nanny and all, but obviously you have to do the work, but
Okay.
uh,
I'll give you an example, Anuj. I work from home.
hmm,
My son is 14 years old.
okay,
At the most, he can stay till 6 o'clock. After that, n number of times he will ask me, when will your call end? How long will it go on? I had to tell you a joke, I'll forget it now. I cannot tell now. How long will it go on? Work from home doesn't mean we are available. It's not a holiday.
yes,
It's just that we are working, but we instead of office, we are working from home. And still you are not present because you have to be present in the office. The one who is present is nanny. The thing remains the same. See, I have a relative whose kid is 4 year old. Okay. They have that setup. Working from home, they balance like that. One works from home, one goes to office. They have a hybrid mode. And the kid is with the nanny, and I have heard the nanny is also good. But what the kid will do, 4 year old, at the most till 3 o'clock. After that, he will go and whosoever is at home in working from home, the door is closed, they will knock and I knock. Can you open the door? Can you open the door? Can you let me in? How long will it? And by mistake, if you open the door, then they will either close your laptop, either they will remove your headset. It's not they being naughty. The inherent problem remains the same. Work from home is not a holiday. You are working, you are not available. Somebody is available who cannot replace you. So again, those many unprocessed emotions and that desire for more of parental time.
So
So yeah,
true.
that is what I think.
Anuj, just now, Momita had mentioned that you need to regulate yourself first before you approach the child. So, because of the constant crying, please think about this as to regulate your thing first. And then what we need to do is we need to separate the child from the behavior. So, what is it that you can do to help him get that separation from the crying as a behavior? Right? So we will talk about this. Please stay tuned. There are certain topics which are coming in DPL after these sessions on Mondays. You will be finding the next topic and you will be able to get more answers. Yes, Anuj?
yes, ma'am, and thank you for your input. It's very
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing this question. It is so important because we need to know where to bring the bridge of communication so that you can have a river which flows freely for your emotions. And that is where the river and the bridge makes the entire ambience beautiful. So, of course, it's very kind of Mamita that she mentioned that she'll be sharing the PPT so that you'll have everything with you. Along with it, we will be also sharing the recordings in due course of time so you can come back and revisit. I want to thank everybody who have been so patiently going through this journey. It is difficult because every day there is a moment of breakdown. But my dear friends, every day there is a moment of rebuild, reclaiming the connection that you had with the child. Because children are the choices that you took to bring to this life, and they are the choices that are going to be carrying your legacy forward. So, with that, let's think about connection. Let's think about our choice. Let's think about the wonderful pointers that Momita shared with us, right? And let us all keep in touch with the entire community. We have many, many ways to tackle. Like Moumita said, every child is unique. We cannot pick up something and just take it. We need to process and implement it in a different approach. So keep tuned and have your answers through the different sessions here. I want to also thank Moumita. That was a fantastic session. The flooding of the messages that are coming in the chats presented by you and received by the parents today. So from the heart of a parent to co-parents who are present here today, thank you so much. Before you sign off, let me also tell you one thing. Of course, DPL will continue in the next week as well. But we have a fantastic program which is coming on just in some time. And that is in Teach Grow, a special program which is for teachers and for them to evolve and bring inclusive, beautiful hacks, tricks, brain sciences, a lot more, the science and art which is there in the classroom. So we have Dr. Sweetie Saini, who's going to be taking every child learns differently. And there is where you can get a little bit of your answer as well, Anuj. And let's see you at 7 p.m. today. With that, Mona Lisa signing off, humbled by the beautiful learning today. Think differently and enjoy parenthood. Thank you, everyone, for joining.